Hello, lovelies. Our lesson today is about percentages and fractions. Now, if you are following from your Marshall Cavendish book, this will be in your pupil's book, page 216. What exactly is a percentage? A percentage is a fraction with a denominator of 100. So always the denominator has to be 100. So if I ask you to write 13 out of 100 as a percentage, this is already a denominator out of 100. So you take the numerator, which is 13, and you replace the denominator with the percent sign, and you read this as 13%. So this is called a percentage, this is called a fraction. Now the denominator always has to be 100. Now what if it's not 100? You need to convert it. So if I ask you to express 1 out of 2 as a percentage, the 2 here is not a 100. You need to convert it to 100 with either multiplying or dividing. We know that 2 can become 100 if we multiply it by 50. And of course, from the properties of fractions, if you multiply the denominator, you need to multiply the numerator by the same number. So 50 times 1 will equal 50. Now the new fraction that we have is 50 out of 100. This fraction with the denominator of 100 is easy to write as a percentage because you only take the numerator, which is 50, and you replace the denominator with the 100 with the percent sign. So 1 out of 2 is 50%. I'm going to give you a little tip. If the numerator is half the denominator, as a percentage, it will always equal 50%. Like if you have 3 out of 6, this is equivalent to 4 out of 8. This is equivalent to 25 out of 50. All these fractions, the numerator is half the denominator, and all of them as a percentage will be written as 50%. Let's take another fraction. If I ask you to write the following fraction as a percentage, 1 out of 4. Of course, you will say 4 is not 100. I need to change the denominator to 100. This can be done if we multiply the 4 by 25. And of course, since we multiply the denominator, we have to multiply the numerator by the same number. So 1 times 25 equals 25. Now, 25 out of 100. This is an easy fraction to turn into a percentage because the denominator is 100. You take the numerator, which is 25, and you replace the denominator with the percent sign. So this is now 25%. There is something called a box of tens or a box of hundreds. This will be used when turning a fraction or a denominator into 100. If you had a 4, you multiply it by 25. If you had a 50, you will multiply it by a 2. If you had 20, you multiply it by 5. If you had 10, you multiply it, of course, by 10. This is called box of hundreds. So this is an easy way for you, no matter what the denominator is, you can always turn it into a percentage easily. If I am asking you to write 10 out of 20 as a percentage, of course you can say the numerator is half the denominator, so this is equal to 50%. But if I want you to show your work, show me how did the denominator become 100, you will say 20 from the box of hundreds, 20 will be multiplied by 5. And the 10 will be multiplied by 5 as well. So 10 times 5 is 50. Now I have 50 out of 100, which equals to 50%. Those, I advise you to memorize these because they are very common denominators and will be very common fractions. Now, if I am asking you to tell me which is greater, 30% or 1 out of 3, which is greater? You need to compare between both numbers. Of course, 30%, if we turn it into a decimal, will be 0.30 or 0.3. Now 1 out of 3, if you convert it to a decimal, you need to do the long division that we explained in the previous lesson. You'll divide 1 by 3, which is 0. And here comes the decimal point. Now this is considered a 10. 10 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. 1 divided by 3, it's also smaller, so I can put another 0 thanks to the decimal point. 10 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And you will see that this is, the 3 will keep coming out. So this is called a recurring decimal. So this will equal to 0.333, and 3 will go on to infinity. Now, if I'm asking you which one is greater, you will compare both numbers starting from the left. 0, 0, decimal point, 3, 3, 0, 3. So this is bigger or larger. So 1 out of 3 is larger than 30%. I hope this was clear and I hope this was beneficial. And please, if you have any questions, leave them down below. And I'll see you next time in our next lesson. Thank you.